Hey, and good morning and welcome to the Fanatical Browns pregame show with some of that wild and crazy music there. Introducing, we've got Steve Gill and we've got Elliot Cannell here on our wonderful pregame festivities. We're getting psyched and ready for this game coming up against the Indianapolis Colts. Lots of things to talk about this morning, including the fact that the Browns fans have taken over, it sounds like, Indianapolis. We've had an opportunity over the last couple of months to interview Paul Brown, who's a famous Brown. Well, not only was he the former creator of the Browns, but there's this other Paul Brown from England that we've interviewed, and he travels the globe, follows the Browns, and he's in Indy. We've been seeing things. If you're a Browns fan, you might see some of the outtakes. We'll show that here in a minute. But how is everybody doing this morning, Steve? How you doing down there in Nashville?
Doing great. Gonna get the game locally because the Titans are on a bye week. So
that's
local
good.
CBS station. I don't have to stream illegally. Yes. So
yay.
Cool.
Excellent.
That means my wife and I can go both watch it. If she has to do something in the kitchen or do something upstairs, she can just turn the TV on and we can both see it.
Now, I was having issues yesterday. I was trying to watch the Buckeye Penn State game. I know we're not talking about that today, but I ended up I listened to Joel, our left guard, talk about this the other day. I turned the sound off because I was so annoyed by the commentating during that game yesterday. Do you sometimes turn the sound off when you watch the Browns game, Steve, or do you
yes.
listen? Okay.
Oh yeah. If especially if Al Michaels is on.
Yes.
He's a notorious Cleveland hater. So I will mute him. I had to listen to the Buckeye game in my car driving back from North Carolina.
Oh, yes.
And usually when it's the home team on Sirius XM, you get the home team announcers. No, I got the Penn State announcers. So my wife kept making derogatory comments toward them while we were driving. Because they kept saying, well, Penn State does this, Penn State does that. And she kept saying, well, when monkeys fly out my butt, that might happen. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mute when they get.
I'm not the only one then. I was so annoyed. No. The one guy, and I forget his name, he's really popular. He's always hyped.
Gus Johnson.
Gus Johnson. No, I like Gus, but he kept going. Yeah, the Maserati thing is just like, come on, man. Like, dude. All right. Well, Elliot, how you doing down there? How are you over there in Dayton?
Just fine. So life is good. Yeah, no, I like listening to the foreign announcers. I get my news by reading enemy newspapers. I read Pravda.
Oh.
I read the news from around the world. It's
Hezbollah Times
to understand what your enemies are saying about you. So I do like getting other perspectives.
Okay, so let's just get into the into this.
So what does Pravda have the over under for this year?
Oh, they like the Colts. No question about it.
Of course they do.
All right. Well, let's start with this. Okay, I haven't seen the medical report come out yet for the game or who's going to be benched or not. But the two names that are popping up, we're talking about coming into this, are Deshaun Watson and then Kareem Hunt. Obviously, Kareem, an important player, but Deshaun's a little bit bigger part of this team. All indications since Wednesday are that he is good to go today, barring any sort of setback in this pregame warm-up. I didn't know if anybody has seen anything since, but it sounds like Deshaun is ready to go. He was dressed to a T today as he entered the Indianapolis stadium. How are you feeling? How are you feeling today?
Your age there, John.
Well, I keep mixing that up. It's funny because I mentioned that the other day when Elliot and you and I did the Fanatical Elves show. I was laughing because I kept mentioning Baltimore because it used to be, the Baltimore Colts, and then the Indianapolis stole them, and then Baltimore stole the Browns back to Baltimore. So anyway, I just find that humorous. Elliot, what are you thinking today? Are we going to see Deshaun?
Yes, it looks like Deshaun. He took most of the snaps in practice as the week went on. So they wouldn't do that unless they expected Deshaun would actually play. So, yeah, I think Deshaun will play, at least start out. Kareem Hunt, on the other hand, they're saying will be, in fact, a game time decision. That's not good. If he is used, he'll probably not be used as much as he would normally be used. He's been kind of the short yardage back anyway. I think, the Browns have to get used to life without Nick Chubb, which means that they're going to have to rely on the wide receiver core more than they have in the past. And I've suggested that they need to use kind of the run and shoot formations, not necessarily throwing the long ball, but I do think that they need to be throwing passes to wide receivers more than they have in the past. They need to be using their tight ends as receivers, and they need to find a way that they can run away from Jed Wills, frankly.
So,
it's not a good offense. It's not a good offense. It really is not.
So now I've read about the Colts defense is that they play this sort of zone sort of scheme, and that our tight ends could be a factor in this game. Steve, what do you think about all that part with the Colts defense and how the Browns are going to approach this?
The way I put it in my article, my preview article, what the Browns are good at, the Colts are bad at. Both sides of the ball. Their secondary allows when the opposition is throwing to wide receivers a 99% QBR. So and they start 2 rookie corners. So although they're tall, I have a feeling Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, and hopefully Marquise Goodman have their way. Harrison Bryant is questionable. I don't think he's going to play. As for Kareem Hunt, they activated Deion Jackson. And that kind of tells me they're leaning towards Hunt not playing if they're going to activate another running back from the practice.
Right, Deion Jackson. Right.
Deion Jackson, who used to play for the Colts.
He used to play for the Colts.
We'll
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Actually,
I want to see. Yeah.
Can I add
Elliot?
something to that? There's a little bit of intrigue here because they had actually 3 players got kicked upstairs, from the practice squad to the 53-player roster. But Deion Jackson actually got a 3-week promotion. He is actually on the 53-player roster, not a temporary 1-week elevation.
So they can designate that. Okay.
Yeah. Well, they have to. And but they chose Jackson to be the guy that they were going to put on the 3-week.
So maybe Kareem is a little bit more.
No, I wouldn't interpret it that way, but I do think that they like him well enough that they feel that they're actually going to use him. Remember, he is I think a 3-year veteran.
True.
He has 200 yards.
Yep.
Of rushing yards, but I looked up his stats.
They're pretty good
for the Colts. He actually, his rushing yardage is not that impressive. But he's
had a few.
He does have a lot of yards catching the ball out of the backfield. In 2022, they targeted him 34 times, and he caught 30 of those balls. That's an 88.2% catch percentage. That is excellent.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
That's exactly what the Browns need. They may not be able to run the ball out, with the running back, but if they can get a guy that can catch it out of the backfield, that is really important. So I think, they might be able to use this guy right away.
Marquise Goodwin, I know we've touched on him. I just like to see him get more involved. And I love that jet sweep. They used him in it. And my God, the kid is just,
did you see that acceleration? Once he got
gosh. It was
first line of
burst.
blocking. He just put it in another gear.
Absolutely.
And that's what I want to see. That's
let's
what I
see if
want to
that
see.
happens today. Elijah Moore just it's crazy, man. Elijah Moore through 5 games, and I don't know the exact numbers right now, but his yards per catch is like so small. And I
Mhm.
mean, I know they wanted to force feed him and kind of get him involved early, and I just don't see it, man. I just don't see it. I've seen him in person
Well,
at the stadium, and I don't see what everyone is talking about with his
he gets
talent.
separation. He is the best at getting separation. Now, PJ
Yeah.
Walker missed him a couple times
Okay.
last week where he was just wide open.
Yeah. Yeah.
He
Yeah,
threw
but
to
he has to
Amari
catch
Cooper on the
the
sideline,
ball.
and he was going right up the middle. He had already gotten
Yeah.
15 yards on the defender. I
Well,
mean, that would have been a touchdown.
I
So,
guess.
Yeah, but
I
if he
just
catches the ball, it's a touchdown. He has to catch, not just run fast.
well, he had that great one-handed catch last week.
Yeah, but in his career, he does not have a great catch percentage, and
I'm not giving up
he
on
does
him.
not have a history
No.
catching
Yeah.
the deep ball. The Jets used to throw to him like 6-yard passes. That was what he did.
Well, hey, by the way, speaking of Elijah, I was thinking of Demetric Felton when I think of Elijah Moore. That's what I'm thinking about, and that's kind of
Oh
scary.
no, come on.
Where is Demetric Felton these days? Anybody know what has happened
I
to
think
him?
he's in the Bengals practice squad, isn't he?
Is he on the practice squad there for the Bengals? Okay.
Oh, give me a second, I'll check.
Yeah. So let's talk about the defense and this Colts offense. Colts are, running up some pretty good yardage. If you look at all their games over the past, 6 games they've played, they're routinely getting 300, 350, 400 yards and at 425 in one game. I don't know if that was last week. They did lose to Jacksonville last week, I think 37-20, but they are doing some things offensively. Gardner Minshew is a veteran, can lead this Colts team, and they're not chopped liver. They're not 0-6. They're not 1-5. They're 3-3, and they've won some games. They beat the Texans, and no one's really talking about the Texans, but CJ Stroud and the Texans are doing some good things. They've beaten Baltimore, and I know, we got beat pretty good by Baltimore. I know there's certain things in that game that we could talk about, but they're 3-3. So this game is going. I don't see this contest being a blowout for the Browns. I certainly think they have an advantage. They are, I think, favored, 3 points. But where do you fall with the whole offense of the Colts? And are you concerned at all of, anything with our defense? Obviously, our defense has been solid. We're number 1 in several categories defensively. Steve, what do you think about their offense and our defense?
Well, with Minshew at quarterback, they're not that effective. They are average running the ball, and they have definitely struggled throwing the ball.
Mhm.
Now they're missing their right tackle, who is declared out. So rookie's going to start in his place. Their right guard, Will Fries, is their weakest link. So the right side of the line. So all you got to do is put pressure on Minshew, stop the run. That's it. And don't let him convert on third downs. I mean, last week against Jacksonville, they didn't do that well against Jacksonville. I went back and watched the tape. Minshew can make mistakes. He threw 3 interceptions, so he can make mistakes. And Baltimore sacked him 5 times. So I expect a lot of pressure. Let him get rid of the ball or hold on to the ball too much.
What do you think about the
stop the run? Stop the run. Stop the run.
Let me just with this going back to I know I'm switching gears and just for a split second here, but with Deshaun Watson, he's been sacked 12 times already in just 3 games.
Well, yeah, he runs into sacks.
I know.
You don't know where he
about
is
that
back
issue.
there sometimes.
That has me worried with Jedrick Wills. Still thinking about that, but I do want to.
Elliot says, go to the other side.
Elliot, what do you think about the offense of the Colts and how the Browns defense is going to handle that today?
Well, yeah, I actually think that Gardner Minshew is an upgrade over Anthony Richardson. They should have had him play all along. Anthony Richardson is a very talented quarterback, but he's only 21 years old, and all 21-year old quarterbacks, except for Lamar Jackson, are terrible. That's just a historic fact. They can't play. They're just dumb.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say dumb, but they're uneducated. That is just a fact of life.
Okay.
And so I think that Minshew is a very good quarterback. What happened to him against Jacksonville, however, is that they stacked the line against the run. They put up a 8-man box and said, here, beat us, Minshew. And so Minshew did throw for a lot of yards, but he was also pressured, and he threw some interceptions.
Hey.
I think that the Browns are playing not just good defense. It's not great defense. It's historically great defense. They've played defense like
you're right.
Been played
Elliot,
in this era. And
Elliot,
I don't think anybody understands that in the NFL. And so I think that
you
the
do.
Browns should be prohibitive favorites to come down and beat up on the offense of the Indianapolis Colts. Now, where I think things can go wrong is that we've also seen the Browns offense be so inept that they turn the ball over and generate scores for the other team. So I think if the Browns lose this game, it'll probably be the fault of the Browns offense.
Yeah,
so
let me ask you.
Think it can be a contest because it'll be the Browns versus the Browns.
Hey, we've got a comment from YouTube. We've got a listener or a follower here, Brett Winston. Thank you for following us on the Fanatical L's and tuning into us, subscribing on YouTube or Apple or Spotify. He has a question for you guys about going back to Kareem Hunt again. Do you suspect that we're going to see Kareem today or not? That was his question.
I'm saying no.
We are told that Kareem Hunt will be a true game time decision. The Browns have not made a decision whether to play him or not. They're going to let him run around a little bit before the game and then make their call. Since they haven't made their decision, it's impossible for us to project the future.
What do you think, Steve?
I say no. I don't think he's going to play. So
don't start him on your fantasy team would be my advice.
I would agree. I would concur with that.
Hey, I've got something from YouTube. Can I interject here?
Yes, absolutely. Yep. While you're doing that, I do want to say about Kareem, seeing him, I think they started him right last week. He was on that first couple plays against the 49ers. It's just nice to see, Kareem back. It seems like he's a little bit more motivated again. Last year was kind of a down year considering everything that was going on. And, he wanted to get re-signed and the way that it's worked out.
Get traded first.
Well, true. Here we go. So Brett, thank you. Thanks again. Yeah. Thanks for your question, Brett.
Our man on the spot, and he reports that the Browns tailgaters are outnumbering the Colts tailgaters in Indianapolis. This is almost live. This is maybe a half an hour old, and the Browns have taken over Indianapolis.
Look at that.
The enemy, and
it was funny. It was funny, Elliot. They were showing this other. I've seen other people posting, and I'm sure the Colts have some tailgating, but they were showing like no one was there tailgating like we see here in Cleveland places. It's funny when you talk about tailgating because, I've been to different locations, different cities, Kansas City. If you go to a Chiefs game, the Chiefs, that stadium there, their tailgating actually happens, in the parking lots right there at the stadium. It's crazy. But in Cleveland, the tailgating happens so many different places down, West 3rd and, just under bridges, and it's the Muni lot. There's so many different locations, but some of these other towns like, Buffalo and Indianapolis, they're at the stadium, which makes sense. It's just funny. They were just showing how there was nobody there tailgating for the Colts. That was a couple hours ago, but I don't know how true that is. But it is true that that picture that you shared of Paul Brown at his event. By the way, Paul Brown is traveling with a group of fellow Browns fans. We're going to see if we can get Paul on here on our Fanatical Elves Network this week to join us. They're going to be crossing the country. Elliot and Steve and I were talking off air about the fact that, they're going to have to cross over the Rockies to get to Seattle. And this time of the year, late October, early November, sometimes can there's issues with the weather. So hopefully they get across to Seattle. Steve?
Yeah, winter starts in August in the Rocky Mountains. They have to understand that.
Yeah,
Quick
Steve?
update. Kareem Hunt is active.
Ooh,
so
okay.
is Harrison Bryant and Greg Newsome, who were both listed as questionable. They are both active as well.
Oh, good news. Good news there. So, Brett, it was a good
Deshaun
question
Watson
earlier.
is listed as active.
Okay. So there you go,
from,
folks.
Ian Rappaport about 13 minutes ago.
All right.
Okay.
Well, that's all good news.
The inactives are Dorian Thompson Robinson. That's your emergency quarterback. Cedric Tillman, Khalif Halasi, Ronnie Hickman, of course, Sione Takitaki, Isaiah McGuire, and Sika Ika. So
let me ask you this then about
Cedric
Tillman. Cedric Tillman, okay, rookie, Tennessee kid, has been inactive a couple times now. Where do you sit? I mean, I know he's not one that we've really talked about, but going through the preseason, there was some chatter, and he's again one of these rookies that we were thinking, okay, maybe this could be a kid. He's tall, lanky, got some preseason. But
just
how
pre-season.
much? So I mean, where are we at with the wide receivers? Because then, so you got Amari Cooper, Donovan Peoples-Jones, who's become kind of this mystery,
who has suddenly disappeared.
Right. We'll see if he can resurface maybe today. Marquise Goodwin. It's Dart. I'm supposing Darden's going to be taking back kicks and punts today again. Is that the kid from TCU? Is that?
Well, I don't know. Pierre Strong did last week.
Oh, I thought Darden was out there.
I thought Pierre Strong was doing kicks and punts.
Okay. Well, I saw Pierre Strong on the that's right, and he was also on the kick defense unit too. I didn't realize that he's out there.
As for Tillman, this is going to be a redshirt year for him. I found it interesting this week that Bleacher Report put out that the Browns were looking at the trade deadline for an offensive tackle, and also for wide receiver, which caught me kind of off guard a little bit.
Off guard.
But then again, DPJ is just, there are games where he just disappears.
But that's been the conversation about DPJ for a while now. Oh, that's the other thing. Not to change the subject again, but this annoys me with all these little, names that we.
Oh, the Browns are the all hyphenated team.
Yeah, and then I heard a guy yesterday calling him best in America. So BIA. Have you ever heard of BIA in college football? Someone was using that. BIA, best in America. I'm like, what the hell? Where do these people come up with this? I mean, I just find it
that would be Marvin Maserati Harrison.
Best in America, BIA. I heard it on the radio locally here in Columbus. It was a couple Buckeye guys who, I listen to these guys on these radio talk shows. They're in their early 20s, and I don't know if it's just being young, and if you're, that's what you guys
do.
Get
off of my lawn, John.
It's just crazy to me. It's like you got to know all these little three letter figure. It's like it takes you half the day to figure out what does this mean exactly. You got to go ask your younger kid what it means. What does this mean? Oh, well, that means this. Okay.
OMG, you were so right.
OMG.
LOL.
Oh well. So let's we're kind of getting close to. We got a little bit more than an hour till kickoff, and so we're gonna wrap things up here. Just final takes, sort of on where we think this game's going to go, and are we going to be talking victory here in a few hours? We're going to have a post-game show in all likelihood soon after. So these guys might be back. They might not. We'll see. But Steve, let's start with you. What do you think of? What are you looking forward to?
Well, I'm looking forward to watching the best in the world defense play for the Browns. And they are phenomenal. Like Elliot said, this is historic. This is the best defense in the NFL since the 70s, statistically. And that's amazing. Irsay, the owner, tweeted out yesterday that the Colts are 10-0 when the roof is open and the window is shut. So to counter that, I have opened my door and shut my window. So take that, Mr. Irsay. No, I want the Browns to just stop the run. They stop the run, put the ball in Minshew's hands. They can pressure him into making mistakes. He's not the greatest quarterback in the world. I think he's only won 3 games as a starter in his professional career. So, just defense be defense. And I agree with Elliot. Offense has to eliminate mistakes. No stupid penalties, no turnovers. All right, let's just play simple offense. Short passes become long handoffs. Let's just play it smart. Don't get greedy. Be patient, Kevin. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay, Elliot.
Yeah, I would echo that last statement. Be patient, Kevin. I think offensive coaches feel the need to be tricky and to be the force that wins the game for the team. They want to be the genius that wins the game. And all you really need to do on offense is not lose the game. The defense will win the game for the Browns if they let them. But if they have to throw the ball all over the ball yard, and by the way, I am advocating on the one hand that they pass the ball more than they run it, but I don't want to have crazy passes. I don't want to have bombs and scrambling.
I think we're going to see. I think Kevin's going to do that. I think they're going to open up the playbook a few times, at least early, and see and test the waters.
Yeah, I want to see something somewhere between the West Coast offense and the run and shoot, where we have a lot of receivers on the field, but maybe not necessarily throw the ball deep or in weird ways.
I saw a nice play yesterday in a college game. I followed Kansas State Wildcats. Avery Johnson. Some of you might have heard that name. He's a freshman quarterback for Kansas State. I helped coach him when he was a 7th grader, basketball back in Wichita. And we called him Mr. Sunshine then, and he's got the sunshine look. If you remember the Titans movie, the kid has long flowing Goldilocks. But he's a really good quarterback, a really great kid. And anyway, they ran a play yesterday in the game against TCU. They crushed TCU in a home game, but they had 3 wide receivers stacked to the left, and then they countered that with a design run to the right, and let Deshaun use his legs a little bit. He's got 5 rushes for 45 yards so far this season in just 3 games, but I suspect we'll see a design runs for Deshaun in this. Nothing that's going to knock him out, hopefully. But anyway, it'd be nice to see. I'd like to see Myles Garrett do more of his basketball moves. Did you catch the highlight of him doing that in the 49ers game? I loved it. Love it. I love the fact that we're seeing a Myles Garrett that just seems more like he's having fun. And I think that speaks volumes for what this defense can do this season. If you get these guys
teammates, yeah.
Oh yeah, he does. I mean, Dalvin Tomlinson was in the backfield last week against the 49ers constantly. I'd love to see Zadarius Smith get his first sack today. He used to play for the Colts, so let's see if he dials it up.
That's good. That's good. I mean, there's so much talent there. I mean, you're even talking about other guys like Alex Wright and, guys in the linebacking crew. And we haven't even talked about JOK. My God, the kid's flying around. You got Grant Delpit in the backfield. You got Juan Thornhill, veteran. I love that huddle. My God, you've seen the Browns in huddles in previous years, from Baker Mayfield to Myles Garrett. My gosh, that huddle that he had. Was it Juan Thornhill or Greg Newsome? But that was fiery. That was real, man. I wanted to go out there and play for the Browns last Sunday. after
Wanted to
hearing
run
that.
through a wall, didn't you? By the way, has anybody in local media up in Cleveland mentioned the very light linebackers that the Browns have? Anybody any complain about it? You know, I'm heavier than their linebackers. Has anybody said anything about
Yeah,
JOK
lately they
or
complain about the big guy, Taki. You know, I think he's great.
I do too.
But yeah, I think Tony Fields will probably play because Taki got banged up.
Well, they also elevated a linebacker.
That's true. Yes.
Oh,
Charles
okay.
Thomas.
Mhm.
So
okay.
mostly special teams guys.
Sure. Well, guys, it's the Browns are 3-2. Have an opportunity to go 4-2 in this game. Should be a lot of highlights, a lot of things to talk about post game. So we'll be back here on the Fanatical Elves with a post game show, rain or shine. We'll be here. And hopefully we have a Victory Monday shows. We got the Dog Pound South show by you, Steve. We've got the Browniacs coming up later this week with Elliot. What the Elf with Joel, Browns Blitz with Rod Bloom. These guys are great. They bring it every week. They also do a lot of writing for periodicals. Steve writes for Cleveland Sports Talk. Elliot writes for Dog Pound Daily, and a few other things like Fans First Sports, which we've all been kind of contributing to that. So check our website out on Fans First Sports Network, where you can follow us and catch all our downloads, and follow us on Apple. Guys, let's go Browns. Take care, everybody.
Go Browns.
And we're going to leave you with this dreamy music, this out of this world music.
Beware. Oh, white.